Tested. Hi, I'm Will from Tested.
I'm Norm from Tested.
Norm, making a good cup of espresso at home is a little bit hard to do.
You would say almost impossible. A good cup.
I would say it's probably not necessarily worth the effort.
Well, what about Nespresso? I hear that's good.
We're not going to talk about that. You need a really expensive machine with a great big pump and a bunch of boilers.
Yes.
And
build your own, like in Green Hornet.
I think that's more your job than mine.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But yeah, no. So basically, you need a whole bunch of stuff. You need an expensive grinder, and getting it right is really finicky and hard.
What are the challenges of a good espresso machine?
Well, it starts with the grind. It's hard to grind properly. You need a pump and a couple of boilers so you can go straight from making espresso to steaming milk for cappuccinos and lattes and stuff like that. It's hard to do.
But I see ads all the time for companies that say we have an espresso maker that you can make, make espresso at home, and it's relatively cheap.
Yeah, so those machines, typically under $100 machines, are just at one boiler. They use steam pressure to push the water through the espresso, so they don't get to the pressure that you need for an espresso machine. You know, when you go to the coffee shop and they have the thing with the big lever that hits 8 or 9 bars of pressure in there, you don't get that same experience with a $100 machine.
So the point of espresso is the pressure.
It is finely ground coffee pushed with water pushed through it at very high pressure, 8 or 9 bars of pressure, depending on what kind of coffee
either
machine.
manual,
either a manual with a big lever, which if you let go, it hits you in the jaw and knocks all your teeth out. That's bad news. Or you need like a series of pumps and boilers and all this crazy solenoids and stuff like that to actually regulate that water flow and pressure.
Okay.
It's a little bit complex. However, there are some machines at home that are more interesting than others. This is a $80 Mr. Coffee machine. It is pump driven, and instead of having a boiler, it has an on-demand heater. A reader suggested this, asked us to take a look at it, see what we think, because typically in this price range, you don't see pump-driven espresso machines.
You would not be convinced just by looking at the price.
I looked at it and thought, okay, that's a cool toy. This uses a demand heater, so it's something that heats the water up very, very quickly and then blasts it through a pump to hit the right pressure, and then spits it out into, what's called a portafilter. This is a pressurized portafilter. So what that means is, typically you see these, and there's a bunch of holes in the bottom, and the coffee sits on top of those. You compact it down with a tamper, and you create what's called a puck. The water's pushed through the puck, and it comes straight out of the holes in the bottom into, this thing.
Very small pores.
Very small holes. And it comes out and it drains into your cup or your espresso pitcher
and
or whatever.
You slam that against the garbage can to throw away the
Boom.
puck.
Yeah. Doesn't work with this guy. This is a pressurized portafilter. So what that means is between the holes and where the coffee comes out, there's another layer. And what this does is make sure that the coffee can't come out until it's reached a certain pressure. So you end up with maybe not quite 8 or 9 bars, but better pressure. And you do actually get a crema and stuff like that in the coffee. It's more idiot-proof espresso.
When you say 8 or 9 bars, you mean bars of atmosphere.
Bars is a way to measure pressure. So 8 or 9 bars means 8 times the normal air pressure at sea level. What I'm going to do is show you how this works. So what I did was I took this home. I've made a bunch of espresso with it. I found some interesting things out. It does make an okay cup of espresso. It's very, very forgiving.
Acceptable by your high standards.
I'd rather go to a Starbucks than drink from this machine on a regular basis, but it's not bad.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised by how it performs.
All right, let's make some coffee.
Yeah.
Let's make some espresso.
Now, the thing is I cheated, though.
Oh.
So I used a $500 grinder.
You used a grinder that was more than 12 times expensive. No, five times expensive as the espresso maker.
Yeah. So this is the Baratza Vario. We've talked about it before. It's a very nice grinder. I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to grind. It's a 14-gram basket. There's 2 baskets that come with this. There's a double basket and a single basket. I think the single basket's like 9 grams. It didn't work very well.
Yeah.
The double basket's 14 grams. A typical double basket is usually 18 to 20 grams, depending on how much coffee you're putting in.
And again, important, mass is what you want.
Mass is what you want more than volume.
Grinds.
Yeah. I pre-measured 14 grams of coffee. I'm going to hit the button. The grinder's all dialed in. So wait for it to grind. Okay, so I have a nice even set of grounds. The instructions for this machine actually say you want the consistency of salt, which is not a typical espresso grind. You usually want a little bit finer than that. Okay. Typically, you want it to fit between the lines in your fingerprints. So
very specific.
It is very
kind
specific.
of a good pro tip. The lines of my fingertips, my fingerprints.
Yes, exactly. So this comes with what I would describe as probably the worst tamper I've ever used.
Yeah.
Typically, tampers are a little bit taller, and they're designed to kind of fit in straight away, so you get an even surface and the water is distributed
Compress the
evenly throughout
grounds
the
to
coffee.
make the puck.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is knock everything off the edges here. I'm going to do a little light compression. The nice thing about these pressurized portafilters is you don't actually have to do the whole tamp and polish and twist, because normally you get down and you do the thing that baristas do at coffee shops where you twist. Not going to bother with that.
A little bit of shake, make sure it's dense and compact.
If I flip this over, it would go all over the floor right now. You don't need to push it in as hard as you would with a traditional commercial portafilter.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, I flipped it on a while ago. It heats up very fast because it's a demand heater. There's no giant boiler to warm up. I'm going to ratchet the portafilter around here. I have two, espresso cups, basically. I'm going to line them up underneath. Actually, I'm just going to put one underneath. And all you do to run this, it's so easy, even you could do it, Norm. Hit the button. So that light turns green. This light's green. There's a knob over here on the right side. I'm going to turn the knob. It's going to start pumping. I don't know what kind of pump is in here. It does that basically. That first pump was a pre-wet, so that gets to the grounds, gets water infused throughout the grounds, which theoretically should reduce channeling. And then what you do is you watch this, and when the coffee starts to blonde, which is where it goes, see it's kind of a dark brown right now, it'll get lighter and lighter and lighter, and you want to pull it back probably around now. So the benefit of using the pressurized portafilter is you get a nice crema. This is a little bit of a thin, runny shot, but you get the nice crema on the top. It tastes. Here, have a taste. See what that tastes. See what that tastes like to you.
Pretty good.
And you build a kind of reasonable puck.
Yeah, it's really hot.
It's 212 degrees, water through the thing. It's not a bad cup of coffee. It's not the best espresso I've ever made. My finicky, trustworthy Sylvia at home makes a much, much better espresso shot. And you're limited in the size of the baskets. 14 grams for a coffee basket's a little bit low.
But again, you also use the $500 Vario.
I did cheat. I used the $500 Vario. Mark Prince from Coffee Geek is a friend of mine, and he has long done a really cool demo where he takes a $80 coffee maker and makes a really nice shot of espresso with a $500 grinder.
Yeah.
So I brought the old Suckmaster here. This is just a Krups blade grinder. Can you knock those grounds out and get us a fresh load here? I'm going to weigh out another 14 grams of coffee. I'm going to put them in the blade grinder. I'm going to fire this up, see how it works. I'm going to do a little shaking so that we distribute evenly. The idea is to get even particle distribution.
It's not going to be as fine as the Vario.
It's not going to be as fine or as even. It's going to be wildly different sizes, and blades are bad for grinding coffee for a bunch of different reasons. But here we go. I feel like I've done this before.
And grinding at the same time. Oh, wow. Those are coarse and uneven.
I'm going to do a little bit more. Yeah.
All right, a little better.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Okay.
We'll see how this goes. It specifically says don't use this kind of grinder. Breaking
And
all
yet you're
sorts
going
of
to do it
rules.
anyway.
Yeah, well, what can you do? 14-ish grams of coffee in here. I'm going to do a light tamp again. See, puck's not as pretty as the other one. A lot of coffee stuck to my tamper here, too. I really can't overstate this. This is, without a doubt, the worst tamper I've ever seen.
This is the one that comes with the Mr.
This
Coffee.
is the one that comes with the machine. It's a little, usually they're not, it flexes in unusual
Is that a
ways.
standard size?
It is, I'm not sure. The tampers I have are 53 millimeters and 48 millimeters. Both of those were too big for this. I didn't go out and buy a tamper for this because they're 20 or 30 bucks. If you want to dump that out. Now, things to mention. The water reservoir is actually right back here. It's really nice. It's removable. This is a great feature because it means you can actually take the thing into the kitchen, fill it up, bring it back in. You don't have to bring pitchers of water and stuff like that. I actually really like that. There's a lot that they've kind of done right for this machine, for an $80 machine. Okay, so let's fire this guy up. We do the pre-wet. It's going to make another shot. Again, if you do this right, then the shot pull should take 15, 20 seconds. You want a little bit longer. Now you can see this one's a little bit runnier. The coffee's a little bit coarser.
Oh, yeah.
Got a different consistency here. And it goes blonde a lot faster, so I'm going to turn that off. I think this is going to be pretty gnarly tasting, but I could be wrong. You're not going to make a ristretto or anything like that here. Let's. Oh, that's burning hot. Here, see the difference? The crema's, even this shot's 5 minutes old. The crema's thinner. It's a lot runnier. It's not as good. I'm going to taste both of these. Yeah, that's foul. Here, give it a taste there, Mr. Chen. You can find where the lip mark is.
Yeah, not as good. Not nearly.
So this is an okay shot. The first shot is okay. turns out $500 grinder does make a pretty substantial difference. Other stuff you can do with this machine, it'll steam milk. If you'll fill that up about half full. I forgot to bring my stainless steel frothing pitcher today, but you can just use a ceramic mug if you have one around. And the nice thing about this is, again, the steaming process is really simple. You hit the steam button. This light's going to flash. When it goes solid, it's ready. All that's happening is the heating element is warming up.
It says 15 bars of pressure.
Yeah, that's a little bit much. Okay, so the light's green. That means we're ready to steam. Steaming's dead simple. Put the coffee in here. It's going to pump steam out. It is not as good a steaming experience as, say, a Sylvia or even a dedicated milk steamer. They have this big rubber knob on the handle, which we'll talk about in a second. It's a little bit hard to clean, I found, and it doesn't generate as much steam as I would like for this type of milk steaming.
Sounds very pleasant.
Yeah, it's kind of a clunking, farting noise. It's really, I don't know.
Just what I want out of milk.
Yeah, well, I mean, you like steamed milk, though, right? The big problem I have with this plastic thing, rubber thing on the end of the nozzle, is you can't actually see where the tip is. When you're frothing milk, you really want to get the tip of the right on the top layer,
yeah,
like as high as you can without coming out, basically. And it's real hard to control that. It's easier in a real frothing pitcher than it is in this ceramic mug, but still not particularly easy. Okay, milk's about doubled in volume. So what it's going to do now is dump off the excess pressure. It puts it into this drip tray, which also is removable. I'm not going to pull it out because it'll make an enormous mess right now. I have a cappuccino mug here. This was the good shot, right?
Yes.
Dump the good shot in, pour in some milk, and you made something that's, you know, cappuccino-y. Give it a try, Mr. Chen. Are you doing a Belgian dip?
I wanted to get the nose in there. It didn't work.
Didn't happen.
It's fine.
It's not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's better than truck stop machine cappuccinos. It's worse than something if you go to like a real, probably even a Starbucks, I would say. Last thing to talk about is this nozzle is a enormous pain in the ass to keep clean.
You can take it off and
You
wash it,
pull
right?
this guy off. It gets all sorts of milk residue down in the
Ew.
tube. It's hard to keep the nozzle clean. All this does is let you aim it without burning your fingers. It's not that big a deal. It's not even like it really helps you froth.
Yeah.
You still need to keep the surface right on. And
Would you recommend operating without the?
I found it's much easier to use without the rubber thing on.
You can just use the rubber to move it from left to right.
Well, or just
Tap it.
use a paper towel. It's fine. It has the tips here, so you can remove the tips with the wrench that's built into the terrible tamper / scoop. It doesn't do anything for me. I did try to grind some coffee at the grocery store. That was a horrible, horrible failure.
Don't do that.
The person in front of me had ground some hazelnut or vanilla coffee or something really, really awful through there, and it did super gnarly things when I made the espresso.
So if I buy the $80 Mr. Coffee,
Yeah.
what type of grinder should I get?
I would
I don't
say-
want to spend. If I don't want to spend.
Don't want to spend $500. I used what was a $50 like Betty Crocker burr grinder. You just want to get an entry-level burr grinder. Did pretty well. These are the two extremes, right?
Yeah.
Anything that doesn't use blades is going to do better than the blade grinder. You don't need a $500 grinder. You're not going to get blue bottle level espresso out of this thing, but you shouldn't expect to for $80. It's a good for entry level. This is not bad. It's a ringing endorsement, I know. So this has been the Mr. Coffee 15 bar $80 espresso machine. For Tested, I'm Will.
I'm Norm.
See you guys next time.
Bye.